Hello, I am MrSuperjolly, and welcome to a first look at Sylvanus, the new tree god. Well, actually, Sylvanus isn't a tree; it's a little guy on top of the tree. But he's a new guardian coming out in the next Smite patch. And at the moment, I'm looking at the PTS, which lets you have a look at the things in the update a bit early, sort of like a beta sort of test to run things through before the patch goes live. So, yeah, he's a new Guardian in Smite. He plays a very supporty role. Due to his light AoE, he's got a lot of... He doesn't have any burst damage, but he can do a lot of damage over time, given enough time, you know? Which works because he's got tons and tons of sustain. He's got his own heal. He's got large AoE attacks, so that helps in clearing the waves. And he's got tons of health. Like as with most Guardians, but his base health is pretty good. So he can sit there poking away at enemies without taking too much damage. I'm just playing a game of bots at the moment because the servers like for Conquest and stuff aren't up on the PTS, so we can't play with real people. But I mean, if I was playing a general supporty role, I'd probably start with Watcher's Gift, Hand of the Gods, and probably wards and multi potions, as you do. But since we're with bot Artemis who doesn't know what she's doing, we're just going to build full damage so we can sort of carry the lane a bit. Which is not how you're meant to play support, and probably not how you're meant to play Sylvanus as a support role, but hey. So if we're going full damage, we'll start with Magic Boots. And I don't really have anything else to get. I should really spend my gold. In fact, let's leave this. Let's leave this and let's get Bancrofts. And we'll just get a health and a mana pot. This is not how you're meant to build Sylvanus. I'm just doing it to speed up the damage she does. So because like bots don't know how to play properly, and you know, this video is really about going through like his abilities, and how well he's gonna help in Conquest, and probably other Smite game modes. Because Sylvanus as a god is very good in team fights. So well. He has potential to be very good in team fights from what the first look we've had now, like of his abilities and stuff. So hopefully it'll be also useful in the Assault arena, like if you're into that sort of stuff. But Conquest, the main game mode of Smite, Sylvanus is primarily, I think, going to be a Guardian, and maybe just the odd madman will try playing him solo lane, like that Geb I played with. You didn't see this Geb, but this Geb was like, no, I'm going solo Geb, and he lost us the game. Well, it wasn't just him, but he did a pretty poor job when he lost his Phoenix. Alright, so one of Sylvanus's big pros is that he's a very good laner in the early game, especially in the early game, because he's one of the only gods in the game with a basic attack that can hit like all 3 minions at once every time. Some other gods have abilities that give their base attacks AoE, which is only for a limited time, or like things like Isis, who has a AoE third hit in a combo chain, like a basic attack chain. But Sylvanus, every single one of his attacks is AoE. I love a really good thing about Sylvanus' basic attacks is their lobs. So I can be standing in front of the wave and hit the minions at the back of the wave, like even if there's other minions blocking me, because it actually goes over the front minions. So this helps you pick off the archers at the back, which is especially useful early game when you're having trouble clearing the waves. It's the archers that do all the damage to you. So poking them off really quickly actually helps a lot. As you see, the bots aren't very good. That Artemis nearly died, which is sad. If you saw that like red racked square around her, if you go back and take a look, that's actually Kali's new. Kali's been updated a bit, which is this god here. But now her passive, which used to be when she killed a god, she saw an indicator. No, I'm not actually that sure, but oh wow, that Yumi is not very good. Oh yeah, even though there's a god about Sylvanus, let me quickly go on about Kali. Kali's new passive means that when a god, her target god, is under 25% health, a red rectangle will appear over that enemy, and the whole team will be able to see it. So you can help her kill her target god, so she can get all her health back really quickly. That's new to this patch, so I thought I'd mention it. Sylvanus. Let's go back to Sylvanus. he's got 4 abilities, as most gods do. Actually, let's start with his passive. His passive is enemies that successfully land a base attack on Sylvanus have a 25% chance to be rooted for 1 second. This may happen once every 12 seconds. This basically means if someone's also attacking me, like Artemis, and being really annoying, she's got a 25% chance every basic attack she hits to be rooted for a second, which will help me get away. It's also really good against gods like Bakashur and like assassins that like Mercury that rely on their basic attacks, because if they get rooted while trying to basic attack me, I can get out of their melee range and they won't be able to keep up easily, even with something like Haste and Fatalis, because they won't be hidden basic attacks anymore unless they got loads of movement speed, which would be good. But yeah, so I it's a very strong defensive ability, having the ability to root your enemies. Let's test it out now. Ymir's gonna hit me. He's got, every time he hits me, he's got 25% to be rooted, I think. Oh, actually, no. See, actually it happened, but I didn't see. But this is my passive meter, so it's ready again. So let's let Ymir hit me. Hit me, Ymir. Hit me, Ymir. Ymir doesn't want to basic attack me. He will in a second. Look, he's hitting me. He's hitting me. He's not. He's hitting the minions. Ymir doesn't want to cooperate, but basically, he would have been rooted eventually if he was like clever enough to hit me, which is the genius about my. But no, go on, Ymir, hit me. I'm aggravating him. He's just running away. See, Sylvanus is so good. I don't need to do anything. We're winning our lane. It's crazy. So that's his passive. It roots abilities when they base attack him. It can only happen once every 12 seconds because it'd be a bit ridiculous if someone kept auto attacking you and get rooted like every 5 seconds. It'd be horrendous. Oh my god, the frame rate! What's happening? Okay. Okay, my first ability is this little plant thing, which if I throw on the ground, it actually takes 10 seconds. And eventually, you see the little ring around it, actually a little timer. But after 10 seconds, it blooms, this flower. And it actually gives me slightly reduced MP5 in this little circle. You can throw up to 3 flowers on the ground. It also gives allies increased MP5. But the plants don't stack. So let's say after this one comes up. Oh wait, let me put one here. Okay, so I've got 3 flowers, but if their rings overlaps and I was standing in the radius of 2 flowers, I wouldn't get double the MP5. MP5 like. Yeah, I wouldn't get double the MP5 because it doesn't stack at all. So you can get a slight MP5 buff just by standing here. I mean, I guess it's slightly good for sustain because like he's got his own MP5 buff and he's got a heal. So technically, if you had enough time, Sylvanus could like constantly regenerate his mana and his health, but it'll take a while. It's not like his MP5 isn't really that great. I love a really good. These flowers can be destroyed by 1 basic attack from the gods, but if they destroy it, like as Artemis just did there, they get this like circle around them, and that actually is just showing that they've been debuffed, and they get this big debuff that actually. Let's see what it says here. So if someone kills the flower and they're within its radius, their protections are reduced by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 for 5 seconds. So that's how it scales. So 5 protections reduces is a decent amount, and it can be useful. Like it's just strange. Like they go up, kill your flower, and suddenly they've got a big disadvantage against you and your team because of this debuff. So it's a sort of nice ability. I'm sure it could be worked around if they use an ability to get rid of the flower outside of the circle. Or even my ranged attack. You don't actually have to be standing in this circle where it explodes to destroy it. Unless you're like a god, melee god and had to go right up to it. So I don't think the debuffs are going to be that strong. The other thing about this ability, my one, it doesn't just spawn flowers. If I hit an enemy god with it, it actually roots them in place for a certain amount of time, which actually I think it gets longer as you rank up this ability. Oh no, it doesn't. No, the root duration's always 2 seconds, but it also applies damage if you hit the god, and you can also apply the root and the damage to minions. So it can be decent clear. It can deal with 1 wave of enemies just like that. So it's not the best clear, but like you mainly I think you'd be ranking up your 2 because not only is it a heal, it's one of your best clears. Yeah, I need to get onto the 2 though. The two is send like it's got this. Wait, let me let it recharge. But it has a small radius around it, and any target within that radius, so it can include friendly gods, enemy gods, or friendly and enemy minions, and all friendly stuff that gets healed for so much over 5. Okay, yeah. So it deals to friendly gods. It heals 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 plus 9 of your magical power every second for 5 seconds. So its scaling isn't that good, but basically it's a decent heal. And plus, yeah, it's a heal that you can apply to yourself and to allies. So let's see how much it heals Neath here. It gets about half a quarter of her health at this rank. Which is, I mean, it can win a team fight. And let's see. And the heal's not like Hell's Heal. It doesn't all come at once though. It's like every second for 5 seconds. So you have to wait a bit. So it's like a big MP5 HP5 buff for like 5 seconds. So it's a bit slow. Also, the same thing applies to enemies, except the opposite. They take damage. Let's see. My ability heals more than it does damage, which is to be expected. Most abilities in the game do that if they heal and damage enemies. And I just killed... No, I didn't kill both of them. That was someone else. Okay. And finally, if any allies, including me in the second, will gain protections for 5 seconds. So... At this rank, it actually gives you 20 protections, but again, a nice little buff to help you. This is part of his sustain. Like, I can like literally go dive towers. I can use my 2. Or give me a heal, give me protections, give me a lot of time to get away. Though getting away is one of Sylvanus's weak points. I go into that. Like, as you've noticed, we've got through his first 3 abilities, and none of them are mobility abilities. So he can't get around the map fast, which is not always the best for a Guardian, because Guardians need to be able to rotate a lot. Like, they're like, besides junglers, they move around the map like the second most out of all the roles in the game. Like, they need to be constantly helping this lane, helping with mid camps, warding the Fire Giant, the Gold Fury, etc. And sometimes they really need to be there quickly in the team fight, and Sylvanus just can't do that. His base movement speed's quite slow because he's a Guardian, and he's got no abilities like Geb's roll or Fina's dash that can help him actually move out the map quickly. So while he's a really good laner and is probably like completely overpowered in the laning phase, his ganking and his getting to place where he needs to be quickly is pretty poor. Having said that, like, normally a god with low mobility also has trouble with escaping from enemies. So, like, but that's not really the case with Sylvanus. He's got loads of things that can help him escape. As his whiffs give him protections, his root, you can root an enemy and then run away. And his ult, which we'll get onto after his free. Oh yeah, I didn't mention his free. Oh, I'm so bad at this. Yeah, his ult actually helps people get away. We'll get onto that. His free doesn't help him get away, but his free, if you remember the old Arachne before the last patch, oh, there's that Carly's rectangle again. Will actually grab enemies and pull them in closer. So it's basically Arachne's ult. It's got a really long cooldown for a third ability. It's like, I think it starts at about 30 seconds, or was that like 27? It's around 30 seconds, and yeah, but it's really, I think it's going to be really powerful in team fights, because if you can grab an enemy and pick them off, that's exactly what you want to do in team fights. You want like to have a massive advantage over your enemies. So using your free against, even if all the enemies are grouped up, you can use your free, pick one out, and then your team can just collapse on him and kill him immediately, and then suddenly it's 5v4, and your team are ahead in the team fight, and that's really what this pool's really good at. Even in like game modes like Assault and stuff. You know, Arachne's pool was always like one of the best things, but just because you can grab an enemy and print him out from all his protections from all the other ally gods, his ally gods. So his free is gonna be crazy. And the why are we doing so well? I'm not even playing. This is a problem with the bots. They're not very good. It'd be nice to have like some really good bots that you could just have a real challenge against, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. You've got no reason to upgrade your free. The only thing it reduces is its cooldown when you upgrade a free. So you can actually get the cooldown down to 15.3 seconds just from maxing out the free, which is pretty good. But there's no other reason to max it out, and I probably wouldn't, because you probably wouldn't need this ability. It's not situational, but like it's good, but it does its job like really well. It's just you don't need it all the time. Alright. My final ability is Wrath of Terror, it's called actually, because alts always have cool names. And it's basically this AoE circle around me, and what it does, it's sort of like Geb's, or like where it like makes a circle and stuns everyone. This actually seems a bit bigger than Geb's ult, maybe not, but but Sylvanus' ult's a bit different. Instead of stunning the enemies, which they can be out of, it actually banishes them for a second, or it's actually like a big knock-up. Look, he just jumps into the air. He's completely... You can't actually attack him while he's in the air, but it's sort of it's a semi-stun because anyone can like use it to aim their ability for when they hit the ground, and it also applies damage to them. Let's see how much damage it does. It does 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 damage. And it gets plus 37.5 of its magical power, which is actually slightly less than the root. So it doesn't scale amazingly well. Like, none of Sylvanus' abilities scale very well. I mean, he's not really designed to build lots of damage off magical items. Its cooldown is 76.5 seconds, so it's certainly not like the longest ult in the world, but it's not short either. It's like... It's more than Ra's, it's less than, like, he's got a really good ult with a long cooldown. I wouldn't know. I mean... and the ult, so again, it's one of those abilities that if I blink in and I use my ult to, like, hit, like, the whole enemy team, that would give us such an advantage in the team fights, and it's one reason Geb's so good, is his ult's, like, pretty decent for someone whose other abilities are so great, and Sylvanus is a similar thing. Like, I just go, what are they going to do? And all my enemies would kill them. Of course, none of my teammates are here. So I'm actually... Don't run into three of them like that. I'm not actually going to die, even though most of them hit stuff. But let's see if we can kill this Hercules. Okay, I missed my route. But this Artemis isn't actually moving. I don't know why. I think they're a bit glitched. Oh. Okay. Yeah, as you can see there, though, I was surrounded by three of them. I knew... Oh, yeah, and Hercules died as well, because he ran into the, the tower. But you can see how powerful that too was. I not only got the protections, I got healed, I got out. Like, crazy. I mean, I know we're against bots, and they probably... If they were real people, they probably would have killed me. But I mean, like... this too, so good. I love it. I actually think it's a great... So we got through most of the abilities. I want to like talk about like how I think he's gonna really help in the laning phase, like specifically, because like one thing that Sylvanus has that other things don't. I mean, we talked briefly about his basic attacks being lob shots. But if you think about all the other Guardians in the game, like pretty much all of them except Hades, who isn't really a Guardian. I mean, he is a Guardian, but people don't play him as a Guardian anymore. They just play him as a solo laner because his burst damage is ridiculous. Like, he's got ranged attacks. And so, well, previously, like, people like Geb and Ymir and have to go up and to help clear the waves, they got there too. But they have to walk up and they have to punch those minions in the face. While they can avoid most of the damage from the minions, they're going to like take quite a bit of damage, poke from the enemies, and probably take a bit of damage from the minions as well if they're not being careful enough. Whereas if you're Sylvanus, all your attacks are ranged, and except your 2. Your 2's pretty... you have to be pretty close to the enemies for it to work. And your 2's also your best player, but everything else is 1, his 3, his 4's also ability. It's really though about his 1 and his 3. Like they're ranged attacks, so Sylvanus can do a lot without getting himself in danger, and then when he does get himself in danger, he's got his 2, he's got his 4, and there's just nothing, like, he can get out of danger, and he doesn't even need to put himself in danger in the first place. I think he's going to be a strong Guardian. I think, like, he's one of the only Guardians in the game that has a real dedicated heal. Again, Hades has a dedicated heal, but, oh my god, it's raw. What's wrong with him? He's a bot. He's not meant to do this. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so he's got heal that not only can heal himself, but can heal allies. Like, he's like the only Guardian in the game that can do that for a good reason. The only one that gets close is like Aphrodite, who can heal, but she's more a mage than a Guardian anyway. Like, she's a better solo laner. And she's a very different sort of like support than a Guardian is. Like, she's not tanky at all. I mean, she's a bit tanky. She's got loads of pill. Oh, go away. Anyway. So I've got 3 CC abilities, which is pretty good for Guardian. I'm happy with it. What the only downside to Sylvanus really, he's a very he can't really kill people. And I know Guardians aren't meant to kill people, but their additional damage can help. And like, he's a bit more like Geb, where like I think Sylvanus could burst someone down like sort of quicker than Geb if you think about it, with his abilities. But he's like no Ymir. Ymir's got tons of bursts. His passive lets him hit for crazy amounts with his melee attacks. And wait, let's go through Rod. We're gonna win this thing. Yeah, Ymir can do quite a bit of burst damage, unlike Sylvanus. So, I mean, like, all the Guardians are different. Like, Sylvanus is definitely a bit more supporty than he is. Like, because Ymir can jungle as well. It's ridiculous. People like been trying him out in the solo lane. I think like some people's ideas are like, oh look, his base attacks are really powerful because you can hit up to like 3 enemies at once with this if they're all in the circle. Or you can hit all the minions. So people have been using items that you just don't see like before, like telekinesis ring, which, well, let me find it. Actually gives all your base attacks 40 additional damage. So this 40 additional damage is applied to like everything I hit. So if I hit 3 minions, I've got an extra 120 damage from 1 basic attack. So that's why people have started like. So and it, like there's other items like demonic grip. People have used on Kronos and Freya, but like you could think about using it on Sylvanus because again your base attacks hit a lot of fins. Though I think telekinesis ring might be okay. I definitely wouldn't build it if you're playing support, but if you wanted to try and solo lane Sylvanus, but you do, like, if you're going to solo lane Sylvanus, you do need a lot of damage because oh, that's a lot of minions. Artemis is gonna die. I've never played against bots this bad. Like, really, they just don't know what they're doing. Oh god. Like, I'm 9-0 and I've just been standing there like hitting the occasional person. And Ymir's about to die as well. I've nearly got my 3 back, so the cooldown's fine. Oh, he's not gonna die. But I think I've mentioned a lot about Sylvanus. I mean, he's definitely got his weakness. Even though I think he looked really good. I don't think he's gonna. They might do some rebalancing, but I don't think he's like gonna be like this #1 choice for Guardian like every time. Like, I still think Geb and Athena are really good. I think Sylvanus will have a better chance of being chosen for support than maybe like Sobek or Ymir. I don't know, they're also still good supports. It's nice that they've added a Guardian that is really, like, I think is quite competitive and actually has a place in the game, unlike Krabraken, which he's sort of like a bad support and a, like, sort of half-decent solo laner, but no one ever plays him, even though he's, like, meant to be a Guardian. So they've released 2 Guardians in a row, like, for Smite, but Sylvanus is definitely more of a supporty Guardian than Krabraken, who's more of a, like, magical bruiser. I think I'm about done talking about Sylvanus. Let's try and wrap up this game. Like, actually beat the enemies for once. Instead of just leaving. I mean, like, my Ra's, like, carrying like crazy. No, I mean, I'm carrying like crazy. But the Ra's actually outgolding me by quite a lot, by 1,000. I have no idea how this Ra is doing this. That's because Ra's OP. We're getting towards... Oh, look, Yumi's can die, because he's just standing there. I don't know if this is a glitch, but a lot of the... I've seen there's definitely a glitch in this PTS with Neef, because whenever you play a game with Neef, as soon as she uses her ult for the first time, she just gets stuck in the ult animation. She never uses it, and she never comes out of it. Unless you hit her, and then she moves a bit, and then she goes back into her ult. So, I have no idea what's happening with that. But I don't think that's actually a glitch that's going into the game. It's just a glitch with the AI. So, go Ra. Bad enemy team. 3 kills from Hook. I have no idea how one-sided this was, because I had a team of bots. They're meant to be bad too, but apparently not. This is Sylvanus' victory stream, which is amazing, because of the amazing music and the amazing tree dance. Which hasn't been stolen off Guardians of the Galaxy or anything like that, you know? Just ignore it. Oh, God. No, I'm pretty sure it hasn't. I was joking. Let's see. Don't ignore this build, by the way. That's not how you build Sylvanus. Even if you're playing solo lane, don't build it. I mean, it's okay. Stone and Guy's good. Cooldown boots are okay, but like gold boots are probably better for support. Anyway, we're not talking about item builds in this game. Like, really. We touched briefly on telekinesis run. I mean, one thing you don't want to do... Actually, this Neef build, fine. See, the bot Neefs build better than real Neefs. Like, sometimes. People don't know how to ADC anyway. I was MrSuperjolly, and goodbye.